Welcome everybody to Pokemon of the Week with me, Daniel, Onion Gravy 64, Civilonion, or however else you may know me. This week it's Torterra number 389 in the Pokedex. It's in the NU tier, as most of the random picks have been for me of late. Not my choice, it's all randomly generated, but we'll crack on. Torterra has two abilities, Overgrow and Shell Armor. Shell Armor, you may be wondering why is it spelt so weird? I have decided to spell it in both the UK and the US way throughout the PowerPoint, or the video in this case, so that people can't complain over the spelling. There is a U in it for people that speak UK English. Anyway, Overgrow powers up grass type moves once your health goes down to 1/3 or lower. Shell Armor on the other hand prevents all critical hits, and as I will be showing in two of my three sets, I find this ability to be a rather good one for Torterra, because of its base stats, which we'll go on to now. It's got a reasonably good health stat at 95, but its attack and defense, being over 100 apiece, makes it very good tank material. Even its special side, which isn't particularly brilliant, isn't hideously bad, and it's especially handy that its special defense is higher than its special attack, meaning that it's not quite as flawed and unbalanced on its defenses. Its speed though is rubbish, but I'll be showing in one of the three sets that I'm doing how you can get around that problem. Torterra, as a grass and ground type, has a very unique set of weaknesses, resistances and immunities. It is weak to 4 types, and one of these is a quad weakness. The quad weakness being ice is a bit of a disaster in higher tiers, but in NU it's not quite as bad because NU is not full of too many ice types, and even the ice types that are in NU, apart from Regice and Glaceon, are not used very often at all, so that's not as big a disaster as it seems. Torterra is also weak to Bug, Fire and Flying. Again, you don't see many flying type moves in any tier, frankly. Fire is quite common though, so got to be careful about that one. With this type combination you have two resistances, and they're two quite good resistances because they're both pretty common, ground and rock. That also means you obviously resist stealth rocks when you're switching in, so you take less damage from an entry hazard in that form. Obviously spikes and toxic spikes will still do big chunks to you. Being a part ground type, it's immune to electric, so that is always useful for switching in material, meaning you've always got at least one type of move you can switch in with impunity. The first set of 3, weirdly, isn't the common set that I usually go for. I normally go for the most common set first. This time I'm not, I'm going with the entry hazard set, which isn't anywhere near as common, it has to be said, as the set that will be coming up second. Basically the plan with this set is you can arguably start with it if you want. Leads in 5th generation don't really exist per se, and you pull up Stealth Rock. Stealth Rock in NU is incredibly useful because of the huge number of bug types and flying types and bug flying types as a combination in NU, so that is very useful to get on the board straight away. You may be wondering, looking at the other 3 moves, why I haven't put a grass type stab move in there, and there's a reason for this. As I've put in note 2, grass and ground together, if you only have 2 attacks, don't provide particularly awe-inspiring type coverage. They are quite lackluster. Ground and rock, on the other hand, is a much better type combination. After bolt, beams, ice and electric, ground and rock is arguably the next best combination. So earthquake being your best move, it is base 100 plus stab, and stone edge, which is base 100, doesn't receive stab but has a high critical hit ratio, does mean that you will be hitting out quite large chunks of damage, even with only 100 EVs in your attack. The reason the EV spread is as such is because, as note 1 points out, with 108 defensive EVs and an impish nature, your defense goes up to 300, which is more than enough to be able to tank while dealing out damage at the same time. Shell Armor goes brilliantly with this set because you can't get critical hit, which means your good defenses will stay good and stay important throughout the match. Your final move, Synthesis, is based upon weather, but generally speaking it will heal 50% of your HP. If it is raining, if it is haily, if it is sandstorm, it doesn't heal anywhere near as much, but on the flip side to this, if it's sunny, it heals considerably more. Normally you don't see a lot of weather in NU, so you don't have to worry too much about the potential fragility of Synthesis. The only thing you have to worry about is its low PP, so always bear that in mind. The item definitely to go with here is leftovers. You need to be able to last as long as you can while dealing out some hits of some strength. Bear in mind you do have over base 100 attack and defense, so like I said, even with 100 attack EVs, you're still going to do a lot of damage to things in NU in particular. Especially so because a lot of the Pokemon in NU are weak to rock, so always bear that in mind. The second set is the more common one, it has to be said, and it all focuses around getting Torterra's pretty abysmal speed up to speed, using Rock Polish. Rock Polish doubles the speed the first time you use it, it then triples it, and then quadruples it after further uses. This is a set where you can get away with running a grass type stab move because you're going with 3 attacks, which is normally the way to go when you've got Rock Polish or Agility or Automize, you know, all those sorts of moves. All moves that are going to involve boosting your speed normally will require 3 attacks to go with it to get enough type coverage to make it, you know, not get stuck against any one set Pokemon. In NU, not a lot likes to face a Rock Polish Torterra for the simple reason that it's a tier full of rubbish water types, it's a tier full of rubbish bug types, so Wood Hammer and Stone Edge respectively get to be used frequently, and put that in tandem with Earthquake, which is always a good move. You can't go too far wrong with it. Now I run this set slightly differently to the standard for the simple reason that if you put a Life Orb and Wood Hammer together, Wood Hammer does a third recoil equal to the amount of damage you do, so if you do 300 damage to somebody, you take 100 back. Combine that with Life Orb, which takes 10% of your health away per hit, and Torterra's not going to last very long at all. Hence I have put in the note that if you want to run a Life Orb still, you can run it with Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb is only base 80 power compared to Wood Hammer's 120, but there is no recoil damage involved, so it is a lot safer and will make your longevity considerably more successful and fruitful. I, however, still like to run with Wood Hammer because of the huge amount of power, but I would combine it with Expert Belt. The reason for this is that you get a 20% bonus on your power if it is super effective, without taking any extra recoil damage. And with these 3 moves combined, you are very likely to be hitting things super effectively. Within there is only grass types that you can't hit super effectively, and the key grass type in NU, Tangler, you can't hit with anything that Torterra can do, so don't worry too much about it. Make sure it gets taken out first so you get your sweep completely ruined. The EVs are self-explanatory for a Rock Polish set. You maximise your attacking stat, you maximise your speed. It doesn't really matter where you put the other EVs. The reason I put the 4 in the HP is because it doesn't knock the HP over into a next multiple of 10. So if you do use a Life Orb, you don't take any more damage from it. And Adamant Nature is generally the way to go. The extra power is generally appreciated more than the extra speed from a Jolly Nature. However, one thing I will note about this as well, if you run Jolly, there are potentially many more Pokemon with a Choice Scarf that you can outspeed. My counter argument would be to that is that you're probably going to come across rubbish Pokemon in NU, so you might get 2 Rock Polishes up, in which case you don't have to worry at all. Generally speaking though, do scout the team for Choice Scarf users first before trying to set up for a sweep. It should be common sense, but you never know, it's best I explain it. The third set is a set that you really don't see very often, but you really should be able to use it very, very well. And it's the Dual Screen set for Torterra. Believe it or not, Torterra can learn both Reflect and Light Screen. You wouldn't guess that by its physical appearance. I know I certainly wouldn't. As I've put in the note, when you're doing a Dual Screener with Torterra, it's almost inevitable that a special attacker will switch in, probably with an Ice type move or Hidden Power Ice. To counter this to a degree, you should go with Light Screen before Reflect almost every single time, and you should definitely have Light Clay as your item, because that means these screens last for 8 turns rather than the usual 5. Combine this with Synthesis, it means you may be able to set dual screens up multiple times in the same battle. But, and this is a big but, as I've made note in the first section there, most dual screeners suffer from what is called 4 move slot syndrome. Basically, what that means is that a Pokemon with 4 move slot syndrome really needs a 5th one in order to do everything it wants to do at the same time. And the problem for Torterra in this key example is that whichever attacking move you pick, you're going to have major repercussions. If you pick Earthquake, anything with Levitate, anything that flies, or anything with an air balloon will dodge you and you won't be able to hit it. However, if you run Seed Bomb, any grass type, any poison type, the multiple grass poison types in NU, and all the bug flying types in NU will laugh at you and you'll have to switch out immediately. So pick your poison on that. It's not even a bad alternative to go for Stone Edge there. However, generally speaking, you should always have at least one stab move regardless. That's why I've not put it there. The EVs may be a seemingly weird choice as well, but if you do this, then your defense and your special defense become nigh on identical, which makes your choice of screen a bit more flexible. You still won't be able to survive very powered up ice beams, so don't worry about that, in the same way you would not be able to survive powered up either ice fangs or icicle crushes. So either way, you have to be very, very careful. However, like I said, in NU, there really aren't that many ice types, so you can do a little bit of scouting first, and with the minimal effort, you'll be absolutely safe. Do bear in mind with this set, you're not intending to do massive damage, you only have an attack so you can't become taunt fodder. Impish Nature is the way to go, even though maximising the special defence is what I've done EV wise, because it's more efficient because the base defence is higher, meaning the 10% bonus is more effective on the defence than the special defence, because of the 20 base stat difference. I hope you found this useful, and if you've got any comments about it, any feedback, any time you've used this, anything like that, please let me know. I'm always interested in hearing from the fans. Peace out, everybody. If you enjoyed the video you've just seen, please join my Facebook group and follow me on Twitter for the latest news.